like of
Yeah,
just
and I think that's probably
wisdom.
a component of that nomad, because I want to instill that in my children, but they're being raised by me. So I wonder if that like free spirit is cultivated, or if because there's like mom, dad, home roots, if that changes things.
Yeah, and it totally does. And my grandma was an entrepreneur, so
Cool.
growing
Go
up,
grandma.
we owned like a surfboard shop and a cute like women's boutique in downtown San Diego,
Oh my
like
gosh, grandma is
so
killer. She's
yeah.
cool.
She's like the most hip. Like people never were like, wait, that's your grandma? And I'm like, yeah.
I love
She's
that.
just like an absolutely incredible woman. And I feel like so much of that shaped my experience. And also at the same time, oftentimes what I tend to find myself talking to a lot of people is like I had this amazing experience where I was raised by all these different generations of people, like people that picked me up from school, like church ladies and like families that adopted me that were like all colors and shapes and sizes and ages and demographics like that make up me. Like I get to carry each and every one of those people to everything that I do. And also at the same time, it came from some of my deepest hurt and pain as well. As a child, like wanting that like traditional like family unit and what that looks like by the world's standards. And
Sure,
so out
sure.
of the greatest pain came my greatest gifting in that I get to adopt people into a global family and teach people like what family means, which, I often talk a lot about like family like is revival, like that's what I like really like deep
Yes.
feel like if people really understood this like spirit of adoption and knowing who you
Mm.
are and your identity and who you've been made to be, like that's what we get to see like heaven here on earth.
Oh, yes. And this is like, I've known like facets about you and have been drawn into, but like, y'all, she loves Jesus and she just exudes that on so many levels. But it's like in this open understanding of invitation, which is something I love so much about you. And people will say, like, God gives you a seat at the table, Jesus gives you a seat at the table, but you actually physically give people these seats and these placements in the things that you do on a consistent basis, whether it's through or gals that brunch, or it's through the other methodologies of loving people well. So talk us through like that evolution as you continued into like exploring this understanding of spirit of adoption. Did you get this from church from when you were young, or was it something you came into knowing more later in your life?
Yeah, I feel like at probably maybe 8 or 9 years old, I audibly like heard God be like, "I'm gonna be your father." And like that shaped my experience. Like, and knowing like, okay, like Heavenly Father. All right, like I know who I get to be as a daughter of the King. And from that place, like I've always been able to like extend that invitation of like what it looks like because unbeknownst to a lot of us, like we have a being, we have like a presence, like regardless if we're trying to or not. And my entire life, people have always been like, there's just something about you, like either like from a place of like you feel really safe or a place of, like whatever that case may be. And I know that's because of who God is in me,